Hello, Christy Dosh here, founder of Guide My Brand, and I am here today with another one of my publicity and PR secrets, one of my favorite tips. I want to talk to you about how to find reporters and writers who want to cover your business. I know that especially when you're starting out with publicity and PR and you're pitching to these writers to cover you for a feature, a mention, you want to get that quote on Entrepreneur or Inc., or maybe it's Cosmo or Glamour or Golf Digest or wherever it is that you want to be, you can feel like you're bugging the reporter or the writer, like you're annoying them when you pitch them. But as a journalist, as someone who is currently a contributor at both Forbes and Fast Company, and I've previously been at ESPN, I can tell you that I want to get those emails from people. I want to know about the things that are happening in the industries that I cover. I want that inside access to people, and I'm always looking for expert sources. And so I can tell you that you're not bugging or annoying anyone when you reach out, at least if you do it correctly. Don't follow up with them 24 hours later and ask if they got your email. But I can tell you that they want to hear from you if you're reaching out to the right reporters and writers. So how do you ensure that you're reaching out to the right people? If you followed me for very long, you know I've done a video before on sites like Cision, and I think another one was Just Reach Out, where you can get these databases of reporters and writers who are, that cover topic areas related to what you do. And I've told you why I think those are a terrible idea, because I know as a journalist that they're not always updated. I get pitches all the time for stuff that I don't cover, and then the PR person will say to me, but you were listed in this database and it said you covered it. I don't care. I didn't write that profile. Someone at one of those companies compiled my information and thinks they know what I cover. And so if you try to find the easy way out and buy one of those sort of databases, you're going to find that you're going to be pitching a lot of people who aren't actually interested in your business. So how do you find the right people? It's actually easier than you think. I'm going to tell you the exact way that we find reporters and writers who want to cover our clients. And I'm going to give you a great example from this week of an email that I sent that immediately landed coverage for my client. So before I get started with that, for those of you who are here with us live, please say hi and let me know that you're here. Hi, Christina. I know Christina knows what I'm talking about because Christina is a publicist as well. And she's also a journalist like I've been. So I know she's going to understand what I'm saying here. But so the one thing that I do for my clients and I teach in my small group publicity program is what I call competitor research. So when a client comes on board with me, I have an onboarding questionnaire that I put them through where I'm asking a lot of things about why they founded their business, what their business has looked like so far, their short-term goals, their long-term goals. There's a lot of things I ask about that allow us to, get a great jump start on working with them and allow us to hit the ground running as soon as we begin working with them. And one of the questions I have added over time is to ask them who they consider to be their biggest competitors. And the reason I ask that is I want to know where your competitors are getting coverage. So we take those names that people give us. Sometimes it's people we recognize, sometimes it's people that we don't. And Megan, the other fabulous publicist on my staff here at Guide My Brand, Megan and I do competitor research, and we look to see where has your competitor been featured or mentioned, where have they written guest blogs, where have they done podcast interviews. We literally go out and research everywhere that they've been. We research what they were talking about. And the reason we do that isn't because we want to, copy everything that they did. We're not trying to turn you into your competitor, but it's because if a podcast host or an outlet or a reporter or a writer is interested in your competitor and in what they have to say, odds are they're probably going to be interested in what you have to say as well. So let me give you an example. I have a client you've probably heard me talk about because she's my longest standing client. I don't want to say my oldest client, although she may actually age-wise be my oldest client. But I have a doctor client who has a skincare line that I've worked with for a couple of years now. And because it's been a couple of years, I mean, we are continually sort of redoing this research. And I did another round of competitor research for her earlier this week. And I was looking to see who has covered beauty products, particularly skincare products that are vegan, that are plant-based, because that my client's product is plant-based. She finds that a lot of vegans are interested in her product, even though that's not actually why she created the product line. I look for coverage of cruelty-free products. I look for coverage of products that she considers to be her competitors in the space. And I look to see who's writing about them, who's quoting their founders, because I know that that reporter or writer already has an interest in the subject matter. And so I came up with a list of writers who recently, I'd say in the last, I was looking back like 2-3 months, have covered skincare products that are similar to my clients, that are products from her competitors. And then I reached out to those reporters and writers, and I would reference a piece I saw. So I would say, I recently read your blog about the top 7 cleansers for vegans, whatever it was, and thought you did a great job. I want to introduce you to my client. And then I would go into my client, the story behind why she created her skincare line, because she has an awesome story about creating it, because she was a doctor who was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and began to look more critically at the things she was using on her own skin. And then when she didn't find something that was exactly what she was looking for, she created her own skincare line. When I write it, it's a lot more eloquent than that, but she's got a great backstory about her products. And so I reached out to, the other day, I think I sent about half a dozen. I reached out to about half a dozen reporters, writers, contributors, whatever you want to call them, and, told them that I had read these other pieces they had done, and I knew they had this interest in this area around, vegan or plant-based skincare products, and that if they ever needed an expert like my client, that she was available. And I listed some of the things that she could talk about and some of the things she's really passionate about and the things that we've built her brand around. And within 24 hours, one of those writers wrote me back and said, "Thank you so much for reaching out. I'm so glad you did. I actually have a piece due in a couple of days and I need an expert for the piece. I think your client's perfect." So just before I jumped on to do this live, I actually shot an email back to the writer with answers to her questions that I had gotten from my doctor client, and the piece will be live in a few days, I believe. So it works, is my point, okay? You're not going to get a yes from every single one of those writers, and sometimes you won't hear anything from them, and all of a sudden 3 months from now, they'll pop into your inbox and say, a few months ago, you pitched me your client. I didn't have anything in the works at the time. However, I'm working on something now. People who write for a living for these publications, and I tell you this having done it myself when I was a sports journalist and was doing it full time, they tend to keep databases of what they call sources. So experts that they can go to when they're writing about something in particular. So when I was writing about the business side of sports, I would keep, and I still keep, a database, and I might have people who are experts on rights fees. So the money that television networks pay to have sports on. I would have, I had a list of experts in that space. I would have a list of experts on, tech in the sports space, and so on and so forth. And I had I'm super organized, so I had an Excel spreadsheet with tabs at the bottom for every topic area I could think of. And when a PR person would pitch me, if I didn't have something I could do with them immediately, I would add it into my database, because a lot of times writers have very tight deadlines with these stories, like a day or two, sometimes it's hours. I've gotten requests from writers where it's like, we'd love to include your client, but I have to have her answers in the next 2 hours. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. But what they're doing is they are building this database so that when they need to move quickly on a piece, they can find that expert they need who can speak exactly to what they're covering in that piece. And it goes back to what I always tell you guys. My mantra is, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do if no one knows you do it, okay? And I say that in terms of being able to reach your ideal client, that it doesn't matter how good you are at what you're doing if that person can't find you and doesn't know that you're doing it. But it's also true when it comes to members of the media, okay? They might need your expertise, but they might not be able to find you. So you've got to pitch yourself. And, there's a stat I came across recently. I know it's not all women in this group, but it tends to be, more women than men who are in this group and who tune into these broadcasts. And I have this stat that I've been using a lot lately about how only 19% of experts in the media are women. And this study that was conducted that found that it's not because producers and editors and writers don't want to include women, it's because women aren't pitching themselves. So I urge you, ladies and men both, please start pitching yourself for these opportunities. I'm telling you, these journalists want to hear from you, but they want to hear from you when your content is relevant to what they cover. And that is why I'm not a huge proponent of those big databases like Cision and Just Reach Out. No offense to them. I think what they are doing, provides a valuable service, but it is not how I choose to work with my clients. I do this competitor research, which takes more time, but ends up being more efficient in the end. And so if you're looking to get that coverage for your business, for you, for your product, whatever it is, look for people who have covered your competitors. Now, you're going to want to pitch them a different angle. You don't want to look just like your competitor, and chances are you aren't just like your competitor. There's something unique about your business and about your approach to what you do. But if you can find the people who have already covered your competitors, I'm telling you, those people are so much more likely to also want to cover you because they already have the interest in your genre, in your niche. So I highly encourage you to do that competitor research. For those of you who are here live, if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. Christina says, take your time and be strategic. Thank you for the kind compliment, Christina. Christina and I have a call here soon, and I'm super excited about it. I love connecting with other publicists. And you might say, well, there's your competitor. But I find that a rising tide lifts all ships, and that the more publicists and PR folks I have been able to develop relationships with, the better coverage I've been able to get for my clients. We all have different contacts. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. And when we work together and we talk to each other about our clients and about what we're looking for and what we need, so often we're able to help each other out, and that helps our clients out. And first and foremost, I am here to get my clients the best coverage that I can get them. I have no ego about it. It doesn't have to be my connection that gets it for them. I just want to get it for them. So Christina and I are actually already working with each other. As she said, collaborators, not competitors. We haven't even had our phone call yet, and we've already been emailing back and forth about how we can help each other's clients get more coverage. And actually, Christina, you're next on my list. I had your email up on my screen to reply to and had the motivation for this live and came and jumped over here to do it. But as soon as I get back over to my computer, you are next on my email list. So for the rest of you who are here with us live, if you've got any questions, drop those in. I'm happy to answer them. Or if you watch this on the replay, you can drop your question in the comments and I will come back and answer it for you. If you've got any questions about how to research your competitors or how to reach out to those writers once you find them. I know that this tactic is going to work for you guys, and I hope you try it out. If you try it and you land something, please come back here and celebrate your win. And actually, today's Wednesday. Today's when we share wins anyway, so hopefully you'll jump in the win thread and share your win. But definitely if you use this advice and you land some coverage, I want to hear about it. I'm excited for you guys to go out there and try it. And Christina, I am headed to email you. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day.